What's that saying? A diamond is forever? Hello, I'm Richard Roth. Welcome to Diplomatic License. This is the week that one of the original founding member countries of the United Nations faced off against the UN Security Council. The accusation against Liberia, quite serious, making money, lots of it, by fueling a horrifying war in West Africa with a lucrative guns for gems trade. The West African nation of Liberia came to the Security Council to defend itself against charges it fuels the conflict in neighboring Sierra Leone through diamond smuggling and gun running with the rebel movement.
The government of Liberia has and continues to be the target of grossly unsubstantiated allegations of diamond smuggling and gun running with the RUF.
Diplomats say Liberia is now running scared in the face of looming UN-imposed sanctions on diamonds, arms, and travel. A UN investigation concluded Liberian President Charles Taylor and close business confidants controlled a secret operation designed to bust existing sanctions on Sierra Leone to help rebels trying to overthrow the government.
There can no longer be a shadow of a doubt that President Taylor has callously been prolonging the conflict in Sierra Leone for personal gain.
Taylor told the UN in a letter he would resign if the UN proves he profited from so-called conflict zone diamonds. The Liberian foreign minister told the Security Council his country would now allow international monitors on borders and seaports and accept some form of UN diamond monitoring. The commitments may be too little too late, say diplomats, coming 1 month after Liberia was implicated by the UN Special Panel report.
The answer lies in specific action and not in more patience for empty promises.
The Liberian foreign minister is with us right now from the UN, Minister Monie Captan. Has it been empty promises, Mr. Minister, from Liberia, as the U.S. and others stated in that meeting?
Not at all. I think that this should put us to the test. The test of our undertakings will only prove us right or wrong.
Now, these are allegations made by many governments there, including some of your African nations there. What is Liberia's defense against these charges?
Well, these charges are not substantiated. It's one thing to have a panel report accuse a government. It's another thing for them to prove a government guilty of an act. Let me tell you, that report stated that Liberia has smuggled over $200 million worth of diamonds from Sierra Leone. And they were sold in Europe, in Antwerp, Belgium. If that is the case, someone has to show the international community some money trail of over $200 million transaction in Europe. How is it possible that this panel, after indicting the government of Liberia, can show no one who sold $200 million worth of diamonds, who bought them, where were they paid for, how were they paid for, which accounts they went into? Absolutely nothing.
All right, well, we'll bring in a guest now, and maybe he will point the way. Perhaps from London, joining us is Alex Yearsley of Global Witness, a non-government environmental and human rights group. Mr. Yearsley, perhaps you can address the foreign minister's comment there. What is the proof that President Taylor of Liberia and his cohorts are responsible for the diamond smuggling?
Apart from the very recent United Nations panel report, which gave extremely detailed and accurate information, with the charges of diamond smuggling.
I mean, I'd just like to point out. Can you be more specific?
Well, I have the report here, but I'd just like to go back to one thing he actually said. The $200 million. The report doesn't actually suggest that $200 million worth of diamonds was smuggled out. That was a misnomer on the statistics of Antwerp's diamond imports.
So you do concede that that is incorrect then?
Oh, the $200 million, absolutely. But what we are saying is that there are several $1 million worth of diamonds that are controlled by, I'm afraid, your president and a coterie of businessmen. Sanjay Van Roop, for instance. I mean, when the report came out, he fled to Kenya that day. And if you want us to follow the money trail,
let me correct you. Don't forget, Liberia is a diamond-producing country. We have our own resources.
Yes, and I think you said, only $3 million
so how do you make a distinction
by your own
between
admittance last year?
what we produce, what we export, and what comes from Sierra Leone? How have you made that determination?
Actually, if you look at the companies that are registered in Liberia that also operate in Sierra Leone and also operate in Antwerp, in Belgium, you can see that there's a clear distinction between the actual imports and the exports.
Mr. Minister, this UN report, 21 countries, I believe, they talk to everybody in the region.
But I need to correct an error there. the companies he's referring to, Liberia has maintained for over 50 years a corporate program, such as what is being maintained in Bahamas and the Bermuda and many other countries. Companies are registered in Liberia, and the only requirement is to have a domicile agent. That doesn't mean that those companies are operating in Liberia.
So your country told Mr. Minister, your country told the Security Council that now plan to put international monitors on borders, correct. Plan to eject people who might be responsible for smuggling. Mr. Taylor, the president, is allegedly ready to resign. Should there be proof? Does this mean, though, that there was something very wrong in your country and the leadership that was responsible for the war? Otherwise, why do this, and is it under the threat of sanctions?
Liberia, as a member of the United Nations, is under obligation to cooperate with the Security Council. As much as we expressed our very strong reservations of the panel of experts report, we are under obligation to respond to the concerns of the Security Council. And we believe that by taking these proactive measures, it will dispel the myth and the fallacy that Liberia is a rogue state that has no intention of cooperating with the international community.
All right, Mr. Yearsley in London, what exactly is Liberia and the government that you say is responsible for people around the world who are not too familiar with the minutiae of the report? I mean, you've been pretty harsh on the Liberian government.
Basically, the contents of the report state that for the last 10 years, Liberia have been complicit in funding the RUF through
that's the rebel group
supplies.
there in Sierra Leone.
Yeah, the Revolutionary United Front in Sierra Leone, who've been responsible for a whole host of atrocities.
All right, Mr. Minister,
trying to overthrow the government there.
Mr. Minister,
I believe you're making an assertion. We have to go beyond rhetoric. I mean, you have to give us tangible, concrete evidence of what you're saying. Anyone can accuse anybody.
Well,
there's plenty of evidence. There is plenty of evidence.
Give me some of them. I think the international community is urgently desiring that you provide some evidence.
This report says President Taylor was actively involved. I mean,
how?
They say
actively involved. Do
you have any idea how long that?
Mr. Minister, I must ask you. Mr. Yearsley, go ahead.
There have been photographs of ammunition on presidential planes, actually in Robertsfield Airport in Liberia.
It's not in the report.
There are copies of flight manifests.
We do not own a presidential aircraft. We have never owned one.
It was actually owned by a close colleague of President Taylor, Mr. Leonard Minin, who's actually under house arrest in Italy at the moment for actually having a large amount of cocaine and rough diamonds in his possession.
We are talking about diamonds. You are bringing in another issue. I think we should be fair. Let's stick with the issues. If you have pictures about aircrafts and arms and ammunition, I think that the panel has an obligation to share it with the international community.
Well, so you don't believe, you're not accepting your own neighboring country, Sierra Leone. The government says there that...
Sierra Leone is not going to be impartial
in this situation. Well, they said they've waited 10 years and they've had a...
Of course they're not going to be impartial. They've just been having a war waged against them, rather like Guinea. And if you want to understand why there is
come on, I wouldn't accept
Liberia,
you bringing Guinea
look at the war in
this.
Guinea.
Mr. Yearsley, that is being very unfair. Liberia has been attacked 4 times from Guinea. We've complained to everyone, even the Security Council, and not a word was said about it. What did you complain about it? Have you been to the northern part of Liberia to see the level of destruction that was carried out with the support of the Guinean government? Do you know how many refugees
it's a rather dangerous place to go right at the moment.
So, Mr.
There's
Minister,
250,000 refugees.
Mr. Minister,
so why are the Liberian troops fighting in Guinea?
And also,
there are absolutely no Liberian troops fighting in Guinea. That is not true at all.
They say, though, and the media has heard President Taylor make promises before about diamonds. Security Council representatives visited the area. They say they were promised things, and the president has not delivered.
But let's be fair. If you are going to create a certification regime, you need both the financial capacity to do that and the expertise to do that. The certification regime in Sierra Leone was done by the international community. We have welcomed the international community to come and assist us in developing a similar regime. And I think that they need to take us up on this test.